Another way to get parties to really understand one another would be active listening. How do you relate to active listening as a mediator?
Well, it's essential in my view. You can't be an effective mediator if you haven't learnt how to be an active listener. And the interesting thing I've found is that I learnt it particularly in dealing with mediation, but you can apply it to every part of life. It becomes a really useful tool. And so what you're doing is you are not, so often lawyers do, they listen to rebut. They're waiting for the person they're listening to draw breath so they can make their point. Whereas if what you're doing is not waiting to make your point, but when they've said something, what you then do is say, so what you're saying is this. So if I've understood it correctly, what you're saying is, and then you put it into your words, it is amazing how then the other person says, yes, and then they expand it a bit more. And you're led down a path that really you might not have realised was there to start with. And you understand it much better. And sometimes you find that what they're telling you was not at all what you thought they were going to be telling you, or what you'd understood to start with. You end up in a completely different place with what they've told you. And that can be enormously important. So one of the things you really need to do, and I find this very helpful, is to make sure that when you're listening to them, you're not listening simply to ask a question or to make a point. In a sense, it's what lawyers do the whole time. They're waiting for the person there who's talking to draw breath so that you can then make your point. What you do is you listen and you ask questions and you say, so what you're telling me is this. So have I understood this right? Or you might ask a question saying, well, why did you do that? Or anything that shows them that you've been actually listening to them and understanding what they're saying. Because very often, what you think they're saying at the start of it is not actually what they're saying. And you end up in a completely different place from where you thought you were going to be when they started giving you the answer. And that can be really helpful in terms of moving the mediation on.